have the wonderful Teresa Mack here, real estate broker, longtime friend of the family, someone who sold me my house and helped me understand real estate as a scale, and really wanted to bring you here to just get a better understanding of what exactly is a real estate agent. I know there's a lot of people that are interested in getting into real estate, finding out about real estate, but what exactly is it that you classify as what you do?
So in most states, including California, you can sell your own real estate. Like Joe, you could sell the house that I sold you to anybody you want, and you don't need a real estate agent to sell your own real estate. But if you want to sell the real estate of another person, you're required by the state to be licensed to do that. And so anyone who wants to represent another person other than themselves, they have to have a real estate license. And then there's two types. You can be a salesperson or you can be a broker.
Got it. And how do you get into the line of being a broker then?
You know, like everything, every career, there's an entry level, which would be a salesperson's license. That means all you have to do is take a certain number of classes, 3, and pass an exam. And as a broker, you're stepping up a level, and you have to have 2 years of experience, as well as take what is thought to be a more difficult examination. And your responsibilities are greater with that license.
Got it. And from my understanding, being an agent, you do have to put in those work and go to school, and you're truly an entrepreneur because that's one job where you eat what you kill. How, when you start the process, do you leverage the I would say the workflow? How do you gain the proper workflow so that you can actually make a good wage and a good earning and build up your clientele?
I'm glad you asked that, because doing well in real estate is like doing well in any business endeavor. And Joe, you know this as well as anybody. Yeah. Getting your clients it's almost as important as getting all the credentials that you need, because you can have all the credentials, be licensed, have a whole bunch of training. If you've got no clients, it's just a lot of paper. So in real estate, the way that you start is with what we call your sphere of influence. People you already know you, love you, trust you, think you're a sane person. And from there you build out. Yeah. And then it's absolutely necessary, like in any business, you cannot build a business on your friends. You know, they will just let you down every time.
Every single time. Yeah,
you practice on them because that's a safe space, but you can only rely on a small number of them to actually be your client and be your client consistently. So you've got to go out and talk to strangers.
And when I think about you, I think about real estate. And how have you taken that, what you said, into a place of scalability? How have you grown that where now you're able to scale and grow, not just you as a real estate agent, to you as a real estate company?
Yeah. So as you know, I'm an individual agent. I have a team of 6 people that I run with my partner, Munif. And then I also run a brokerage with Munif, and we have 85 agents. So we've scaled at different levels in different ways. I think the most important thing for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur and wants to scale, to understand is to scale, you have to have a certain measure of success. It's very difficult to scale something if you failed at it. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's a lot easier to scale when you've had success, because typically scaling just means you're going to take what you've learned and replicate it using others. And you've got to train them, guide them with the tools, and leverage in that way in order to scale.
Yeah. I can imagine, because you're in a position of creating entrepreneurs, and some people may come from a different field. Some people may be teachers, some just coming out of college, some had a whole nother career. How do you then get those young agents to learn that they're entrepreneurs and they're in their business when they're, working with you guys as well?
That's the thing I love most about this business. Real estate is great. You make great money at it, and you can be of great service. I love all that. But what I love the most is teaching people how to fish, because I have lashes on my back I have the scabs on my knees from falling into holes and making mistakes. And there's no reason to do that every single time. Like, learn from someone else is what I would say. So the first thing that we do is we provide mentorship to our agents. And it's practical mentorship. It's not somebody sitting in an office telling you, like, pay me $800 a month and I'm going to coach you. We have working agents that are productive and successful, coaching our newer agents and closing the gap between the training we provide and their real life experience. So that's where the gap is. Most people can pass the classes. Most people can take the training. Yeah. It's when you have that client in front of you, or you have the market, which is crazy right now, the market in front of you doing all sorts of crazy things, that your skill comes into play. So we give them training, Joe, and then we also give them a proven roadmap to success. Doesn't mean it's the only route to success, because you can get to success a lot of ways, but you should at least have one tested route to get there. And people who just kind of go in like, hey, I'm going to just, try a whole bunch of new stuff. They spend a lot of money and rarely do they hit the lottery.
Yeah. How does that feel when you make those entrepreneurs? How does it feel when, like, somebody gets their first sale?
It feels really great, because in my brokerage, we don't have a lot of prima donnas. When they close the sale, they're feeding their family. They're paying off their student loans. They're buying homes. Yeah. So it's more than just a check. It's like the first step into their future. And that's what it was for me. So that's why it's
How old and how young can you be to get into real estate? And I know this because I've seen, The Office, and I know the landscape, but for someone that just doesn't know, it says, I have to be 25 and know all these people to get in real estate. When can you get in real estate?
Well, when you say get in real estate, when can you get your license? You have to be 18 years old. But when you get in real estate, my son Anthony was in real estate at 16 because he was dropping A-frame signs for his mama, who didn't want to get up that early and have to do that hard work. So if you're interested in real estate, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, look, entrepreneurship for a lot of very successful people started with a lemonade stand. So it's never too early. I mean, I taught my kids entrepreneurship from the time they were kids. So it's never too early to start. Yeah. Now, I hope a lot of your audience are people who are probably in college or in school or in high school. So get your base, educational credentials behind you. If you're in college, definitely get your real estate license. It makes a lot more money than, driving Uber. So you can get our youngest is 21 years old.
Nice. It's funny you say that, because I don't know if you know, I got my real estate license in Texas when I was in college, but I joined a brokerage that didn't really give me support. And this was in 2007. And so my roommates and I ended up buying a house in 2007, which we had no one had no business giving us a house. But you understand the landscape that we were in 2007, and then 2008 hit. And I always look back at that and say, I wish I would have stayed in it, because it was right at peak time and things were coming back. And I was, the mentorship that you guys are talking about is so important, because that matters when it comes to who you're representing, who you're pushing a license for, where you're selling, and things like that, so that you can be comfortable as an entrepreneur. When you first came into this, you weren't always in real estate and didn't always have a real estate background. So why real estate first? And then what were you doing before real estate?
Okay, well, I'll answer in the reverse. So I went to Cal State Northridge. I was an accountant major. I was an accountant for many years. I became a CPA. And then I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. And my dad died. And my dad died without a trust. And so I went through probate. And after the probate courts and the IRS got done with my dad's estate, I decided to go to law school. That's how pissed off I was. So I went to law school. I became a lawyer, practiced for 12 years, had a great career there. Then I started having kids. And when I took time off to have my kids, I realized, and on maternity leave, I realized that everybody was not getting up at 7 a.m. and going in to grind for the man. Like, I assumed whole world was doing what I was doing, which was burning my whole life and earning a mediocre living. It was a reliable living, but I was stunned at what I saw from 8 to 5 when I was off. And I decided, like, I wanted that kind of control of my life. And I started to investigate, well, how could I get it without getting another degree? And real estate was my vehicle out. And so I decided to get my license. I got my broker's license because if you're a lawyer, you can go directly to getting your broker's license. And then I started, losing money, honestly, because I got my license in 2006 and the market crashed after my first sale. So I say this, we are about to go into a market that is in transition right now. It's the most exciting time I've seen in the 15-year career. So if you're thinking about real estate, the best time to get into any business is on the downturn. More millionaires did. If you don't have a lot of capital to get in when the get in is hard, and just put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing because I get a lot of people all the time telling me like, hey, the real estate market's going to crash. But then I can name 10 friends that are fully qualified to purchase houses right now. So I'm like, nah, that's not, it's different now. And just knowing from 2008, the gig economy, and there's so many more ways to make money than before that. No, I don't think that's happening. And I think a lot of those conversations come from people that are headed towards maybe their last house, not their first house. But yeah, being in the mix and being blessed to get my space before 2019 and seeing all my friends scramble in 2020, 2021, trying to find places. It's like, no, it's no bubble. It's just, there's no inventory. So, it's, just got to get out there. So you made that transition. You said something important. I want to go back to it. The key thing of entrepreneurship is being able to pace yourself in your life. I had that aha moment because my dad's a 9-to-5 employee. So is my mom, 9-to-5 employee all their life. They come from that school of go to college, go to work, retire. And I was the beneficiary of that. Because they work so hard, and as we're in our neighborhood, and I grew up in a very affluent neighborhood. I would say we were house poor, and in that neighborhood, I walked outside, and my first job actually, let me rewind, I would take out my neighbor's trash cans for $5 a week, and I had 20 neighbors. So at 19 years old, I'm making about $100 a week on Sundays, and I would go to Costco and buy candy and go sell the candy at school. So I would be making about $2,000 a month at 10 years old. And one of my neighbors were out there, and I remember being home one week, and I'm buying all these things, but my neighbor, he was always home. He was never at work. And then my neighbor across the street was always home. And then my other neighbor, I noticed 50% of people on my block were home. And that's when I started to get curious. Well, how are they home and being able to support their lifestyle? But this is because they were entrepreneurs and business owners. And there was a stigma of entrepreneur. You have to be making $1 million, $5 million just to survive. But you can work at your own pace. Speak to that, to the 9-to-5 workers that are scared to. Because it's security. It's the security part. It's the enjoying your business benefits part. But the mental part of being able to control your lifestyle at your own pace, including your family and your friends in your life, and living a quality life. But still, I always put my number at $300 a day. If I'm making $300 a day, I'm good. Speak to that quality of life as an entrepreneur switching over and being able to control your own pace.
I'm glad you asked me that, Joe, because real estate is an industry where there are a lot of people who are in a 9-to-5 and they want to make a transition into real estate, but no two more different experiences, because a 9-to-5 gives you a paycheck every 2 weeks and somebody else tells you exactly what to do. And as an entrepreneur, you make nothing many days when you're working full time. And so I encourage people to be realistic about their responsibilities. Don't fool yourself and say, I've got $12,000 worth of savings, so I'm ready to quit my job and start real estate. Because you have to, and that does happen. It happens. Or you get laid off.
Yeah.
They think I'm going to get my real estate license, or let me dust off my old real estate license, and now I'm going to, make a client appear. So it's important that you talk to somebody who's in the industry that is going to explain to you the sales cycle of your service or your product. How long does it really take, assuming a worst case scenario, for you to go from I don't know anybody to I have a client, and then how long does it take to convert that client? So it's very important that you plan that transition thoughtfully. The second,
I got an idea. Question. Not to interrupt you. Go in a second, but what if you, as a new person, still like apprentice under somebody, and say, "Hey, I'm just going to bring this lead to you, and make that deal, and then I'm going to use the money to pay for my real estate school." And then, you go into that. Is there something like that?
The only reason it doesn't work is a licensed broker can't pay you for it. We can't pay unless you're licensed. And you can't even be licensed and not hanging your license with a broker. You can do what I did is I worked as a real estate assistant while I was waiting for my license to arrive. So I had already taken the classes, but that doesn't matter. I could have worked as a real estate assistant with the aspiration of getting my real estate license, and that way you could be compensated for doing that lead generation work or things like that. The thing I also the point is, if you are in a job or you do have a current way of earning your income and you want to transition into real estate, understand, or any business, you have to work 2 jobs. You cannot work your job and then work a couple of hours and think you're going to build a business on that. I work 8 hours for the man. I'm going to sleep like 4.5 hours, and then I'm going to work another 10 hours in my business, right, Joe? I mean, exactly. So you're going to have to say, I'm going to bear that difficult road for a certain period of time, because you can't do it, forever. So you have to, you have to say like, hey, easy. I can commit to a 16-hour workday for the next 6, 8, 10, whatever months it is. And then you better buy in with the people that you have your life with. You need to sit with your spouse, your girlfriend, your kids, your mom, whomever, and let them know, like, this is my plan and this is how I'm going to work it. So I need you to not call me. I need you to not text me. I need you to not ask me to go to this family event, because for these, 10 months, this is what I'm going to do. And this measure if it's working. But it can be done.
That's important. And it sounds like you spoke on it a little bit, but is that the most difficult part, is just the beginning and getting over those first, you say you entered the market in 2006 and then boom, like crash, for years, and you stayed in it. And that shows some resilience, but going over that, was that the biggest hurdle, just being consistent and sticking to it?
Yes. So when I started my career, I knew nothing, and nobody really showed me the roadmap like we do at my company. I have just been a workaholic. So a workaholic will survive almost anything. Everything else around them might, fall apart, but they will survive and get through it. But that's not the way you want to build your business or your life. So again, I say, find someone who's successful, and you may have to ask a lot of people, because people don't like to share their success. They think, for some reason, you're going to overtake them, which is literally impossible if they can work. But find someone and find the recipe before you jump out there and start. Have a plan, is what I would.
There's I don't know if you know the guy. He's a 9-to-5 millionaire, brother out of Chicago. He was a police officer, and he even said he stayed working because he can sell to his other police officers. That was a clientele he had, the people that he was around every day, and I found that interesting, because that made sense. It's like, this is a clientele I can reach out to. They're right there, and I'm talking to them, and they trust me already because they know me. And that's how he was able to build his business on the real estate side. So what would you say to someone looking to invest in real estate and maybe not go the full agent route, but then still be a real estate investor and make money on that end?
I know there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, you don't need any money to invest. You can use other people's money and all that. Those things don't.
10 exit, Grant Cardone.
I'm not saying those don't work. I'm just saying, look at when you go to those events, look at how many people are there, and then look at how many people are driving away in the kind of car you hope to be driving with. It's a very small number of people that really succeed in that. And the 9-to-5 millionaire, I love that, because the first thing that's different about him is his mindset, right? He doesn't have the mindset of an employee. He was working 2 jobs. He was also willing to develop the skill that maybe he didn't need as a police officer, but that he did need as a real estate professional. And so you have to, so if you're going to invest in real estate, I do believe you need to have some capital of your own, even if it's for no other reason than to be a safety net if your investment doesn't perform properly, or you need to make additional investments, right?
Yeah. And just for the people out there, minimum, how much do you need? Because they don't believe me when I say you just need to, I always tell people, all you need is 2 years tax returns, 20,000, 30,000, and you can buy something.
You can. And in the market we're going into, if you're willing to make the compromises, like, if you live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, you're probably not going to buy that for your first purchase. If you're willing to make compromises, you can use less money than that. You only need 3.5%. That's an FHA loan. No, it doesn't work on every property. No, it's not going to buy you into every single neighborhood. But 3.5% of the purchase price on a $400,000 condo, you tell me what that math is, 12, 15 grand. Maybe we can negotiate for the seller to pay your closing costs. Couldn't do it before, but look, we're going into the market. So I think where it starts, Joe, is kind of where you and your significant other was, which was basically, you guys said, we aren't renting anymore. We know where we want to live. We hope we get to live there, but guess what? We're not putting our money in rent anymore. And I remember when Joe moved into his place, I'm going to tell you guys something. He cut the rent off because his close date was supposed to be, let's just say it was supposed to be 5/5. Joe cut the rent off at 5/4. And we were like, hey, they're not going to close on time. He was like, we're going to just be in this truck waiting. And when you moved into your place, y'all were sitting in a truck like, call us when the keys get there. And I was like, oh my God, they are. Now you have to decide what you want, and then you have to go after it relentlessly. And that's what you guys did. That's why you guys place you're in.
Yeah. And I have a whole other episode of at that time I had a 580 credit score. My wife had higher credit at the time, but I mean now I have a 750. And so does she. And so now, we're looking at our next property and trying to figure out what to do with this one. And it's like, even those 2 years difference and just a lot of discipline and focus changed my mind on, real estate and how to leverage real estate. And even with that, how to leverage my own real estate to support my business, and that's a whole nother episode I have, but it's been interesting going on that journey. And everyone always asks me, where do I get this information from? I'm like, I just either look at YouTube, I call Teresa, I ask questions, I research, and I'm always finding ways to know how to really invest, in my career. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you for coming out here. If anybody was looking for you right now to possibly have you mentor, be an agent, and work under you guys, kind of Pacific Playa, how can they find you right now?
PacificPlayaRealty.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Teresa Mack. That's Teresa Mack, M-A-C-K, like a truck. TeresaMack.com. You can always reach out to me there. And those are the easiest ways. My phone number is all over the internet. Google Teresa Mack Realtor, and I'm pretty easy to find.
You can definitely go to TeresaMack.com, powered by Affluent Solution. Love it. So thank you so much for this. And you guys tune in to Entrepreneur Enthusiasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube, on Tidal, on Spotify, all the platforms. If you want to learn how to properly become an entrepreneur and navigate this new space and get over that hump, you can stay that 9 to 5, you can leave it, but just do it. You guys have a good one.